swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
Cub fans, welcome for a post-game edition of Fly the W. As you just saw, the Cubs are going to beat the Braves 7-1, and oh boy, doesn't that make us all feel a little bit better. We can get off the ledge a little bit because I know, trust me, I read all the comments, I read all the things that people put out there, and you know, I know there's a lot of panic, and after being, after the first two games, I understood it, but that's baseball, man. Highs and lows. You're playing a great, great team in the Atlanta Braves at their house, right? I mean, you're going to expect that in that situation, they're going to win 2 of 3, which is exactly what happened. Now, did the Cubs look bad in the process? Yes. Dustin and I recorded earlier when the Cubs were down 2-0. And of course, Dustin wakes up early for the Mully and Haw show. He produces that in the morning show. So make sure you catch it from 5 to 10 a.m. tomorrow. And so I just figured I would cover this on my own here, this end right here. And so I would just say, you sit there, you take a look at the game and you ask yourself, all right, the lineup, again, no Nico Horner, second game in a row. And you're wondering how the heck this team is going to score runs. Now, granted, Reynaldo Lopez has been pitching great. Chris Sale has been otherworldly, especially his last 4 starts. Chris Kampka had a great tweet about that the other day. Nobody's hitting him. And so you got Charlie Morton coming out. The team isn't hitting anything. 18 innings of being shut out on the very first pitch. Very first pitch, Mike Tauchman hits a home run. And it was one of those things where you're just like, okay, is this going to be the game where the bats bust out? And sure enough, right after that, Seiya Suzuki hits a double, Cody Bellinger singles, and then Christopher Morel grounds out. And that was a great play by Orlando Arcia that he made, and he was able to get the force out. And so no big deal. Cubs are up 2-0, but the bases get loaded. What about Miles Mastrobuoni? I mean, what a game he had, but the bases are loaded and Pete Crow Armstrong gets hit by a pitch. That is called taking one for the team, and you're up 3-0. Now, with this Atlanta offense, I wasn't comfortable with the 3-0 lead. We've seen how some of these things have gone. And I'm like, please just score some more runs, But when you saw Assad come out there and just get that 1, 2, 3 inning, and I know he hasn't been playing great, but to see Ronald Acuna not in the lineup, I got to just breathe a little bit. All right. I know he's, MVP last year, what he does on the base pass. Just didn't want to see him against the Cubs. And the other thing with Javier Assad is when he gets into that second inning, he gives out a 1-out double of Travis d'Arnaud, and he works his way around that. I love the fact that in the third inning, Miles Mastrobuoni, again, you're talking about a guy that I think people like to use as a punching bag. He walks for the second time in the game with 1 out. Magical singles. You got runners at first and third, and Charlie Morton throws it away on a pickoff attempt. So now the Cubs are up 4-0, and that's going to be it for Charlie Morton after 3 innings. So, after everything that Chris Sale and Reynaldo Lopez did, Charlie Morton goes 3 innings, gives up 3 runs on 5 hits, 3 walks and 4 Ks. Definitely not the start that they were looking for. Shortest start by a Brave starter this year. So, hey, man, all good. Everything's all good there. And so just enjoyable to see how they worked. And the other thing I really like too is that the Cubs just kept going. They didn't let up off the gas. And the 2 guys that to me really kind of made this game was PCA and Miles Mastrobuoni. Both of them just had really, really good games. And not only did you have great starting pitching, not only did you have timely hitting, but I thought the defense was really good. There was just a lot of plays that you saw the defense make, whether it was PCA, whether it was Miles Mastrobuoni. Michael Busch had a nice pick on a ball that looked like it was going to be going out there. One of my favorite plays is in the 5th inning. Michael Busch singles, Miles Mastrobuoni flies out, and then Nick Madrigal singles. And so I don't know what Madrigal was kind of thinking there. He was out at second. It wasn't even close. But, now Busch is at third, but you got 2 outs. Pete Crow Armstrong hits a bunt that gets past everybody, perfectly executed. The run scores 5-0, and then he steals second base. If you remember at Cubs convention, I asked, it was my question, asking about the bunt and Craig Counsell's feeling about bunting. And Craig Counsell said, I'm not a big bunter, but a guy like PCA, a lefty who has some speed, yeah, I could see that happening. And he's making that part of the game. And that was just great. Bottom of the 5th, that play by Miles Mastrobuoni to Michael Busch. It looked like a Dansby Swanson kind of sliding backhand play. The throw wasn't on line, but Michael Busch, who's had his fair share of trouble picking the ball, was able to get that throw that was a little bit offline and make the tag. So I thought that was awesome. You get into the top of the 7th. And when you look at the top of the 7th, bottom of the 7th, I mean, again, great defensive play in the bottom of the 7th by Christopher Morel on a line out by Adam Duvall. I like that play. Ben Brown came in. And the only thing I would say that I was a little bit curious about is that, Javier Assad just absolutely shut down the Braves. I mean, it was just a fantastic performance against a great lineup. 6 innings. He gives up 0 runs, 4 hits, 7 Ks, and 1 walk. His ERA now is a minuscule 1.49, 4th best in Major League Baseball. Don't you love it how MLB comes out with those lists and, the top 10 pitchers? You would think that the guy with the 4th lowest ERA might somehow be on there, but no. But I was surprised that Ben Brown, who came in, he only pitched 2 innings. And to me, that was a little bit surprising. I thought that they would let Ben Brown go the distance on that one. But, Ben gave up a run, and that's, again, in that type of game, when you have that kind of lead, I would have preferred to shut them out after everything they did to the Cubs the last couple nights. Orlando Arcia hit a 1-out double. He got Jared Kelenic to strike out swinging a nice fastball. But then Zach Short, boy, did he really want to give it to his old teammate this series. He had an unbelievable series. He doubles, and that puts Atlanta on the board. 5-1 is still not a comfortable lead in my book. Not against this Braves team. And not with this Cubs bullpen, to be honest with you, at this point in time. Top of the 8th. Once again, PCA in the middle of it. He triples, sharp line drive to left, and then Yan Gomes right away, sac fly. He finds the pitch that he likes, and first pitch, boom, PCA is in. So if you think about it, the Cubs win 7-1. PCA gets hit by a pitch, that's 1 run. On the bunt, he drives in another, that's 2 runs. And you have the triple with the sac fly, so he scores another run. That's 3 of the 7 runs that PCA was involved in the play. Now, that made it 6-1, and then Seiya Suzuki was really doing well when he got injured, when he got that oblique injury, and he has been struggling. He's been on the struggle bus. And I'm just sitting there going like, man, we need Seiya to get going. He was, coming into the game, he was 3 for his last 18, slashing 167, 211, slugging 167. And, if you're listening to the Fly the W podcast at the beginning of the season, to me, PCA was my pick as the guy that was going to be the MVP. I really thought that this was going to be a breakout year. Plenty of time for that to happen, but to get that home run, I think it was just kind of similar to everything with the Cubs, where everyone just played really flawless baseball. But Luke Little did come in the 9th, and he walked the first batter. He faced Adam Duvall, and he hit the second one. So he got 2 guys on. He strikes out Jared Kelenic. But then a double, I thought it was going to be a double play. It wasn't. 1 out, but then Michael Harris flies out to win the game. Luke knows that he has to get guys out, especially in that situation with a lead like that. Just throw strikes. Don't worry about, being fancy or anything like that. Throw strikes and see what happens in this one. So, for the Cubs, just a great game altogether, to see Seiya Suzuki 2 for 5 with the home run. Mike Tauchman 2 for 5 with a home run. Cody Bellinger 2 for 4. Christopher Morel struggled 0 for 5 The Cubs come and take on Pittsburgh. I wonder if he gets a day off with all the bumps and bruises that he's had lately. Michael Busch, 1 for 4 with a walk. Miles Mastroboni, 1 for 3, 2 walks, some nice defensive plays. Nick Madrigal, guys that, I'm going to be guilty of sometimes razzing a little bit, the Miles Mastroboni and the Nick Madrigals of the world. Nick Madrigal, 3 for 4. And then Pete Crow Armstrong, like we said, 2 for 4 and hit by a pitch, 2 RBIs. Just a great offensive performance by a Cubs team that absolutely needed it. 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. And again, Javier Assad, what else can you say about Javier Assad? To me, he just really was really impressive. I really just like what I saw from the kid, and hopefully this is a building block for the team. You're going to come in now with Pittsburgh coming up. You're going to be facing a lot of really, really good pitchers. You're going to be facing everybody from Jared Jones to Paul Skeens to Mitch Keller. I mean, these are going to be good pitchers, and that's what you faced when you had Reynaldo Lopez and Chris Sale. Like I said, Chris Sale's otherworldly right now. I just need this team to, just have good at bats. This was a really good performance by a team that needed it more than anything, and I hope that gives them some momentum as the Pirates come into town. The Cubs have had to play an unbelievably long stretch of games, and so they're finally going to get a little break. I'm excited about that. And at this point in time, you just got to get the guys healthy. Just so many injuries, illnesses, fluke things. I'm just sitting there looking at this team and saying, hey, you're down a game and a half in the standings now to Milwaukee. See what you can do. Just keep fighting, keep going, and hopefully, like we said, the Cubs can just continue to play good baseball. And today, to me, that was good baseball. That's what they did today. They played great baseball, and that's what this team is capable of. And the pitching right now, the Cubs are third best in Major League in starting pitching. We know the problems with the bullpen. The Cubs, Jed just picked up, Tyson the other day, and they're going to do more moves. They're going to try to get this settled in. It's got to be the offense that really kind of picks it up. The offense right now is not good enough. And if they can play more games like this, I think that the Cubs are going to be in for some, it's going to be a fun summer either way at Wrigley Field. That's my feeling. I think this team has a good chance to make the postseason. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be going tomorrow night, and I hope a lot of people will be going tomorrow night. The new Fly the W episode is going to be dropping tomorrow morning. We are going to have, hey, what's up, Steve? How are you, buddy? Saw that where were you at? A volleyball game tonight? But the new Fly the W is going to be dropping. We are going to have, we're going to be recapping this series, the series with the Braves. Obviously, 2 bad games, 1 good game. We're going to be talking with Matt Trueblood from Northside Baseball, and it was a really interesting interview I did with him where we kind of talk a little bit about some of the issues facing the Cubs, especially for the young hitters. And I hope people kind of really give it a listen and keep an open mind. And I'm going to link the articles that we talked about with Matt, but really does a good job of kind of explaining, how hard it is for these young guys to adjust to major league pitching. You got to do that on the fly. These are the best pitchers in the world, and they are looking for any weakness you have as a hitter. And the second they find it, they are ruthless. They are relentless until you prove otherwise. Now, that's not a big deal if your lineup's 100% at full strength and Ian Happ slumping and all this stuff. I mean, you're counting on guys like Michael Busch. You're counting on guys like PCA. You're counting out with, guys like Miguel Amaya. All of those are really young guys, and they're going to have their lumps. That's part of being a young player. But I think if people are patient, I think if they give these guys a shot, I think you're going to be happy with what you see in the long run. Don't ever forget that when Anthony Rizzo was called up in San Diego, it was very similar for Cub fans, like when Matt Mervis was called up, or one of those situations where or PCA last season, and you get so excited and people are buying the jerseys and it's the kid's first game, and all of a sudden it's not instant success. And then people say, oh, he's a bum. He's a DFA. Trade him. No. And don't ever forget that Ryan Sandberg went 1 for 35 to start his career. Like, I keep wondering, like, what if Rhino, was around? What if in his debut, there was Twitter around there and all that noise? Just no. You got to see what you got to let these kids develop. You got to give them a chance to work through their struggles. And I know it's not fun to do. Nobody likes to see guys struggle. The players don't want to struggle, but give these young players a shot. It just doesn't, they're when I listen to people, it's always cut this guy, DFA this guy. Brennan Davis. If anyone's been watching what Brennan Davis has been doing in Iowa right now, I had everybody telling me his career was toast. Kid's like 23, maybe, and he was a 2-time player of the year. He was a futures MVP. And yeah, he had some injuries, and that happens. And so you can't just sit there and throw these guys away like trash. It's not like they just keep coming up. You have a certain amount of arms. You're going to have a certain amount of innings out of all these guys. And maybe they're not the greatest innings, but again, this is how these guys learn. Remember, Justin Steele was drafted same year as Kyle Schwarber, 2014. And people forget it wasn't instantaneous success. It took a while. There was injuries to Justin Steele's career. There were struggles, and he worked his way through it. He ended up being a reliever first before he became a starter, and then eventually an all-star. So, I'm hoping right now that we can sit there and you don't want to make a mistake in a panic move. And Steve, I think you're saying that right now as well. You're saying NL is down right now. The last wild card team is D-backs at 21-23. Let the kids get some W. I agree 100%. Imagine if you panic right now. You're in second place, a game and a half out of first place, and you want to deal assets from your farm system to get a reliever. That doesn't make any sense at all. That really doesn't make any sense at all. You don't want to do that. You want to sit there and you want to keep your assets. Now, if you're telling me you are one piece away, you're a closer away from really truly thinking this is a World Series champion team, then I'm on board. Don't, exactly what the Cubs did in 2016. We have precedents for it. When they traded Gleyber Torres to get Aroldis Chapman, that was the final piece of the puzzle. And I don't care what you think about Aroldis Chapman as a human being. They don't win the World Series without him. That simple. So I'm just telling you right now that in May, a game and a half out with, 2/3 of the season left to go, you want to trade guys that have absolute talent for a reliever. Nah, I don't buy it. I feel like I don't want to sound like an old man, but it's like, baseball, it's about patience, and I really think that for me, Joe Madden was a guy that I, would say, hey, celebrate a victory for 30 minutes, mourn a loss for 30 minutes and move on and get ready for the next game. I'm happy. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go to bed happy. As Steve likes to say, it's going to be a good night on Cubs Twitter. I'm going to go to bed happy. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go to work. And then I'm going to go to 1060 West Addison to the friendly confines and hopefully see the Cubs, beat Jared Jones like they did last time. Well, they didn't completely beat him. The bullpen kind of helped, but that's the thing. Get into the Pirates bullpen. But let's keep positive here. Let's see what happens. Life is beautiful, man. Don't let a couple of baseball games get you all hyped up, get you all freaked out, worked out. Again, I have faith in Jed Hoyer. I have faith in Carter Hawkins. And I especially have faith in Craig Counsell. Am I going to agree with everything Counsell does? Of course not. Is there times where I go, Patrick Wisdom is leading off, you say? Interesting. Everyone knows I was very critical of that play in Boston where Ian Happ wasn't positioned right, whether that was Ian's fault or the coach's fault or both of them having, partly to blame. But all in all, I truly believe that Craig Counsell is going to be the manager for the next postseason team for the Cubs. And I hope he can go deep with that team. But don't forget, this farm system is very highly ranked. They are talented young kids. They just need a little time to develop. It is very rare to see someone just come up in the minors and completely just own everybody. That's not the norm. So Cub fans, if you're going to Wrigley Field tomorrow, I'll be in my seats. I'll be probably at Lucky Doors before the game, enjoying a cocktail. I hope to see everybody out there. Thanks for everybody that's been watching, that's been listening, and go Cubs.